Yes, everyone, you know what time it is. It's your boys Jack and Dave here, and we're joined by very, very special guest, James Black of the voice of Spurs. You might know him from the Big Ange song, and we're going to be kind of chatting, about his time maybe this year. It's probably been a big year for you. A lot of dreams come true, I imagine, and also as well, a lot of dreams come true for Spurs fans. But James, how are you this afternoon?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm really good, mate. Yeah. I mean, after the NLD, it's great that I'm slightly a little bit gutted that we didn't win. That's a great feeling to be like that because of the performance. But yeah, I'm really good, man. How are you guys? You good?
Keep it well this
Yeah.
morning. Yeah, Dave, how are you this morning? I mean, I have the coffee aside, next to me. Not too many New York noises, and the Gooner kind of tears have gone away. It was raining over here in Brooklyn for nearly 4 days straight. I was starting to go a little crazy, but finally the sun has broken, and the smiles and the Tottenham shirts can be worn out on the streets.
I'm absolutely buzzing as well. The good vibes around Tottenham. This is what we've, been waiting for or angling for the last 3 to 4 years. And again, Gunner's still crying. I ended up getting caught out in a storm as well, full of Arsenal tears. So, but apart from that, life's good, my man.
But let's get kind of straight into how this year has gone for you, James. Of course, you were behind the Big Ange song that went viral, as also too Robbie Williams definitely picked up on it and gave it a bash as well. How did kind of the song really come about in the first place? And what were your thoughts on how it was kind of received by the fans? Because it really did just sort of, I feel like, blow up really kind of instantaneously.
Yeah, it's great, man. I mean, I wrote it. I only get a little break in between seasons because I play at the stadium. So I wrote it at the end of like last season. I've gone traveling. I was in Ecuador, somewhere in South America, and Pochettino had come out and said something about them being a bigger club, and just felt like when you're ex-girlfriends with a new man, you think, oh Christ, right, well, you're dead to me. Then there's no malice behind it, but that sort of feeling, you get right, okay, you're dead to me. And I've always played with that Ange and Angels thing in my head because I write at the stadium. I've always got ideas just going round and round. And that the two lines then suddenly click together. So what I kind of do, just let it organically write itself, really. So watching the games usually should be the way to do it because it's got to be organic. It's got to be about the performances, so the fans can like apply a value to it. And then playing the way we want to, literally come from West Ham, even though we lost that first pre-season. I thought, wow, this is such a difference. This is like letting the shackles off. So yeah, it was organically done. When I first played it was Man United's home game, bearing in mind that we'd only seen a 2-2 draw at Brentford at that point, and it was so loud. It was so loud that my drummer couldn't hear himself. I had to turn the monitors up, like it was feeding back a little bit from our side because the crowd was so loud, and we kind of just knew then, just straight away, that wow, they've got this. I remember seeing Michael Bridge, who works for Sky Sports. He's a massive Tottenham fan. I see him coming through with a camera, and then he was singing it as well. Like everybody in that room at that moment, I guess they're the judges, and that's how it should be. Tottenham fans should tell you whether a song's good or not. I'm just the person who just puts it out there. You know what I mean?
Is it
And
also just sorry, just a quick follow-up. Is it also just sort of the feelings around maybe just a fresh start that maybe people are also kind of getting onto the new song, or is it maybe just kind of the vibe around, kind of the stadium, when performing? What's kind of the vibe around the stadium, this year, maybe compared to other years, just sort of performing?
Yeah, huge. Like I say, it was the loudest. It's the loudest I've heard them. This is pre-game. I'm telling you, before we beat Man United, before we've gone on the pitch, pre-game Man United, just seen Brentford, and that's the loudest I've heard the Spurs fans since 2019 with the final on that. We had a home game against Everton. I was playing then, and they were really loud then. But that's the loudest I've heard since then. And I think part of that song, or part of what I do as well, is like to encompass how they're feeling, and it is shackles off, and it is like a lifting of the gloom. And I think results, although as the season goes on, it's going to be like important, weren't as important. It was secondary to performances and that proves it because we just had a 2-2 draw with Brentford. They were singing like that. I bet the 5:30 kickoff helped as well. It's a bit more booze in it, but it was it was magical, man. I'm not nothing better to me than Spurs fans singing my lyrics. There's no better feeling in the world.
And they'll be absolutely hopping, for the Liverpool game, 5:30 kickoff, like you just said, off the back of a North London derby. But James, the reaction to it has been absolutely insane, my man. I mean, I've seen videos of footage of it at the Spurs Stadium where you would go to sing it, everyone else just takes over. You're not even allowed to sing it anymore. It's gone that big. But also, you've been on Talk Sport. Robbie Williams, like Jack said, has picked it up. What's your thoughts on the reaction on how well it's been received? When Spurs fans were traveling to Fulham on that boat party again, belting it out. I love it myself. Jack sings it himself. Did you
Dave had
think
it
it would
stuck in
go
his
this
head.
big?
Well, I guess from that first moment, like I said at Man United, it was like, okay, they've cottoned onto this and they're going to take this on. I always do. I've been there 3 or 4 years playing songs, and I know the best way to do it. And it's the fans to be the judges. And well, that's the way it should be. Like I've always got to leave them to it. Like I've always got to see what naturally takes on and what doesn't. And it's about that. The whole club's about the fans. So I kind of leave them to it, man. And when they start singing it off their own back, that's the whole reason I do it. Like I don't do it to sing it myself, really. So when you say about stopping and then taking over, that's the whole reason I'm doing this. It's their song. I don't see it as mine. It's for the Spurs fans to do some stuff that that's a bit more original, I suppose. That sort of thing. It just feels a bit more like that to me. Oh yeah, I'm extremely proud of it, and I love the fact Robbie did it, and Robbie took it into the stratosphere with virality. But it got to him because the Spurs fans had sung it and made it viral in the UK and Australia. It went mental before he'd even sort of seen it. So I mean, him jumping on it was brilliant. And the Spurs fans jumping on it, saying this is Voice of Spurs, was a lovely moment for me because I didn't do anything about that. That just happened. That was lovely. But them singing it at the stadium just after. I mean, I don't care about music. I care about Tottenham. So that last minute goal, I was still on my knees going, wow. And then to hear the lyrics afterwards, I don't think that moment will ever be beaten because of just what had happened. Same two things together, yeah.
Absolutely incredible. And just a quick follow-up, any duets coming up with Robbie Williams, maybe changing the lyrics to the full version of Angels to a Spurs song?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, it's again, it's up to the fans and the club. Like, it's whatever's best for the fans. For me, it's not something I'm chasing. As soon as the fans sung it, that's the whole reason. Like I say, Robbie Williams has definitely helped. Let's not get this like skewed around. If it wasn't for the song Angels, I wouldn't have even known it. So I stole his thing, and he took my lyrics, and then it all just combined, and then went in the stratosphere. And him doing it is why it went so massive as well. Do you know what I mean? Massive reason. So, I mean, if Robbie and the club wants to do something, then I mean, I'm all open. But I've already got what I need out of it by the fans singing it in the stadium, and that's only what I ever really strive for. Like I've done a lot of music that I'm quite proud of, but like I say, nothing compares to that feeling because I'm Tottenham over literally everything. So nothing compares to that feeling.
You could say Robbie should thank you though for you helped him become a Spurs fan.
Yeah,
in a way. So
well,
it's
maybe thank me in a few years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so you helped him become a Spurs fan even deeper. Maybe. You kind of spoke about though, like right, you've had a lot of success, of course, and had like a lot of, you have your own passion, right? Outside of Spurs, you're deeply passionate about music and you've been able to have your own career in it. And what's it like though to kind of have maybe those two things sort of intertwined in a way, like, your sort of love for Spurs, love for music. I mean, in a way, not a lot of us can really do that. If we have some, sort of other passion outside of football, that's what makes it nice is that we all get to come together and sort of share, the same sort of camaraderie and love and kind of our love for Spurs and football. But how do you, what's it like to kind of do both things at once or kind of intertwine them?
It's it's hard to describe. It's incredible. I think when I was first started to do it, there wasn't people really doing it. So and it was at Wembley, and the people were they're still at I mean, the entertainment that was amazing. But I was with Mickey Hazard about to go and do an audition to go and play at the Man City Wembley game. And I said, I only really want to play Tottenham. I'm just Tottenham. He said, go on then, and I'll sing along. So I started singing a few Spurs classics. Mickey was there as well, and he was singing some bits of it. And it's from that moment, really, that I kind of helped push that, design that to like, this is what the Spurs fans, if they're going to want to hear something, they're going to want to hear this. That's how I kind of felt. So it went from there. Luckily it was the Champions League year. I did the lyrics for the LA Champions League one, and then it took off from there. And the club and the booking agency have all been absolutely incredible with me. They've backed me. The club, especially recently, have heavily backed me. The feeling is, so when you watch a game, right? Imagine you guys are watching a game, and Tottenham's everything, and so like the last minute results, the goals or whatever. Now imagine that, and then imagine that your whole either career or the next gig or what you're about to play is sitting on top of that. It's heart attack time. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's brilliant and it's awful at the same time, depending on moment. So I've still got to sit on that stool when Bournemouth score a last minute goal at home to us. Sit there.
Jeez.
And it's horrible. And like I'm feeling the same as everybody else. Like, why is somebody sitting on the stool playing music? I can't sit there playing Radiohead for 45 minutes. It's hard as well, but you ride the waves and you got to do your job. So yeah, but don't get me wrong. Like, there's no way I'm complaining about it. It's an
Good
absolute
answer though. Yeah, good to hear both sides of it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Dave, sorry.
No, it was great to hear how you got into it as well. You know, Mickey Hazard giving you the old boost. Love to see it. Love to see it. But any other sort of songs in the pipeline that you're planning on rearranging or anything like that, James?
Yeah. I'm literally always thinking. So I just, again, it's got to sort of come to me, really. I don't know. I'm always thinking about what to do, what to change. I try and keep an eye on originality as much as I can. But yeah, I'm always thinking. I've got a good one for Madison. I'm playing with ideas to get in the whole of the Great Wall of Tottenham into something. Because I want them all in there. I know Mickey's got his thing, and I've got one for Romero that I'm happy with that I'm going to play at Liverpool. So yeah, I mean, it gets again, like I throw it out there, and the fans decide, and that's how it should. I did one that's got a lot of traction to come on, Feel the Noise, and we've got our Tottenham back. Tottenham makes some noise for Postecoglou's boys. So that one's gaining traction, but yeah, the fans should decide. So yeah, there's a few in there, man, and I'll throw a few more at the wall on Saturday.
Absolutely love it. I want to put forward a suggestion if we could do something with that song. I come from a land down under.
Yeah, that's a good idea, man. Yeah, one of it's not a bad idea. I've got one that references Australian TV. I'm sure you can guess little bits of it, but it's to do with home and away and not liking the neighbours. It's that sort of vibe that I've got going as well. But Land Down Under would be amazing. I've got Waltzing Matilda as well. That's on the go. But
nice.
Do you see the club investing? Do you see the club investing, or I don't know what the right word is for this, but like, are they sort of getting more behind it and kind of enjoying kind of just what you're doing more? Or they because I think you might even mention to Chris or something that they're trying to put you more in the kind of the match day on cuts and things like that. Like, are they just trying to get more involved or put more into it? Or I don't know what the right word I'm kind of looking for is.
Well, what that sort of happened again on Office Home back. What the club did for me that I'll never ever forget is there was it's one of the ex-players' wives that was talking to me on Instagram, and she put me forward to the club about something that Robbie Williams had put this thing out, and we need to give James some credit on it, etc., etc. And then they got in touch, and that's when they were brilliant, because they've got such a big pull that they stopped that from being just Robbie Williams' thing. And look, this was one of our fans that did this, so they owned it back again, which I think was really cool and really nice of them. And then Big Ange said the same, I think, on a press conference, just to come off the back of one of our supporters, etc. So these things for me are priceless, and what they do off the back of it, again, like I've got to kind of let it go and see what happens, because chasing and knocking on their door and being in the annoying, go, what about this? What about this? What about that? It's just like, it's not. I've got no ego to it, to be honest. What'll happen will happen. What won't happen won't happen. I mean, I've already got enough out of this whole experience, and I already had enough of the LA Champions League one. It's just, and I'm a Tottenham fan, so I don't need to go banging down doors to try and get things to happen. And I think it's a nicer approach, really. But they've been brilliant, man.
Yeah.
No. And you know what? I'm loving the fact that we're all getting our own songs now, new updated version songs, and the fact that they are putting money into pre-match entertainment at the stadium and stuff like that. It's absolutely brilliant to hear. What they need to do now is get you out on the pitch half an hour beforehand and build it up for the next, 20 or so minutes out on the pitch. That'd be absolutely awesome. Why
Yeah,
not change pre-match routines, eh?
yeah, man. Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, I have no idea how that would sound and stuff, but yeah, I can understand. That would be. There was talk of it
Oh,
from
wow.
this song. There was talk of it, but I think because you're mentioning ex-managers, the club themselves have like so much red tape, and it's kind of best to. I have to fly the line between the red
Yeah, yeah.
tape for the club and pleasing the fans and making sure they enjoy the match day experience and stuff. So
Mm,
that's it seems like just off the cuff and I've done that, but it's not. Every time you're writing something, you're changing something, you're moving something, you're trying to take everyone into consideration. And
mm.
let's be honest, football fans ain't just going to sing a bland thing. Like there has to be some sort of grit to it. So you have to watch
Mm,
that against the red tape and whilst understanding the whole thing, you know what I mean? So
mm.
it's become a different skill set I've had to learn over the years, but I've learned a bit more over the last sort of 3 or 4 years, man.
No,
From
look, it's
yeah.
it's absolutely fantastic. Look, one more last personal question before we get into maybe your thoughts on Spurs this season, James. How
Yeah.
did you become a Tottenham fan in the first place?
I was. I'm going to show my age here, but the first game I remember that I wanted them, I was behind them winning was the '87 Cup final and Gary Mabbutt's knee.
Mm,
So that's how quickly I was let down as a Tottenham fan, but still carried on. And it kind of grew from that. Gazza got involved, Lineker got involved. I then became obsessed with Spurs, with Gazza and Lineker. And that moved up into the '91 final where I was just like, it just became everything. And it has always been since '91. So I don't know if you see, but Gary Lineker ended match of the day on my Tottenham lyrics
yeah,
last year.
yeah.
And I was like, what the hell is going on? Is this like some sort of simulation? Couldn't get my head around it.
Mm,
But that was nice for me because he's one of the reasons I supported Tottenham. So that
wow.
for me was quite a nice little win.
Nice to see it come full circle, my man.
Yeah,
Really is. I
yeah,
know, look, I was buzzing when I seen Lineker do that as well. It's great to see. I just love when people talk about Spurs or mention Spurs in a good in a good light. It's
yeah.
rather than what we're used to seeing in the press. But Jack, over to you, my man.
I was going to say last personal question for me until we get on to some of the more kind of football and Spurs kind of questions. But I was going to say maybe this is a hard one to make you do, but if you were to pick kind of between some of your kind of dream moments of, from Ange, even, the fact that Ange even knows your song in the first place, I think is kind of crazy. To, the away fans, singing it on the way to Fulham. What's kind of been, or Robbie Williams, what's been kind of I don't know, the dream come true, maybe
Pinnacle of it
from this
all
year.
for me. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was. I was. I've got to get ready for when the game ends to play. So I'm watching a game and it's 1-0 and it's like 95th. And I'm like, what do I do? I'm
Mm,
at this moment in time, you're like, you feel just so dejected. Not only you got to deal with a Tottenham loss, which is everything, you've now got to sit there and play. And it's the hardest thing in the world to do. So it's coming. I was coming down the lift, and I think the lifts are quite sort of you can't hear what's going on. Got out the other side, and everyone's just running around and stuff like that. What's going on? We equalised. We equalised. And they said, yeah, 1-1. And I had another massive roar. And I just go running out and just saw that they'd scored again. I just dropped to my knees.
mm.
And I'm just like, because like I said to you, a heart attack football is like, I've got to go and play on top of this. So it just heightens everything even more out of the stratosphere. And I'm already massively passionate. And I was on my knees just going, what's going on? This is just, I can't feel any better than this. And then I just hear angels going. And I'm like, what the hell? So I
Mm,
go out into the bowl, and it's like everyone's singing it in the stadium. That for me, that I don't think I'll personally beat that
Mhm.
moment because first time I'd heard it sung in the stadium as a whole against those two last goals that you guys must have felt incredible. Every Spurs fan would have been feeling
yeah.
incredible. So it's like just didn't know what to do with myself, and I was just frozen really, and that was one of the first times in my life that I've sort of felt that way.
Mm,
where I just frozen, just
Yeah.
looking through it.
mm.
So that
Just Just two sort of quick questions off the back of that, my man. First one, do you think that Ange Postecoglou plays at home?
So that again, sorry. I think what?
Do you think Ange Postecoglou listens to your song at home just to maybe give his own ego a little boost?
Well, I've been told, but again, I don't know that. He takes everything with a pinch of salt. I've been told by someone who's like a member of his sort of close family that he's been played it a few times and he loves it. I just don't know. I don't want to pretend to know that something's there and it's not there, but I've been told, and that feels awesome as well. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I'd like to think he does. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I would, to be honest with you. I'd listen to it every morning and every evening before I go to bed. And last one off the back of that, my man, is you speak about, the result. Does that dictate the energy into the performance? Because like when you're losing, right, obviously it's hard to sort of, do songs after and stuff. But when we win, or in the manner we win, does that maybe heighten the performance a little bit, my man?
there's like the first point of that is I'm contracted to do a job, and I've understood my job a lot more now. In terms of people will come to see me even after a defeat to kind of cheer themselves up before they go and get on the train. And I'm there and contracted to do that for that match day. So Spurs just employ me for the match day, and then on the match day I play. So I've got to play and I've got to do stuff. I've got to navigate that quite sort of well. You don't want to turn into a meme by playing something that do you know what I mean, and sort of embarrass the Spurs fans and stuff like that. So you got to keep an eye on everything. And so yeah, you do. You just do it to get through it. But I'll be feeling exactly the same as you boys whilst I'm sat in that stall. You're just like, but you just know you've got to do it. You know what I mean? It's hard, but you got to remain professional, I suppose, is the best way. And I used to like not do Tottenham stuff at all because it just seems the weirdest thing in the world to do, especially under Mourinho and Conte. So I didn't really do it. And then like, you'd have fans coming up, look, we come to see you, to listen to this. So you have to again navigate that. It's a hard thing to do. If you win, it's just the easiest thing in the world. You're just going on there and just whatever you do. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be received really well. And I'll tell you what happens. I'm on my third guitar playing at Spurs by breaking it, but not through like the Who, but just like I get passionate and hit it. I put my fist through it in the NLD when we won 3-0. And so the whole thing just started feeding back. So I had to go and get another one, and I cracked the other one. And so that's just something like beating it and just like so happy of the win. So it all pours out of you in a performance. But I'm a Tottenham fan first. I can't sit there and start doing all this when we've not won. I can't do it. Can't do it. And I think obviously the club know that. So whatever comes out is real, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Look, we even find it hard ourselves when we lose, to sit there and analyze the game straight after a result because, like you said, you're Tottenham and you're just down if Tottenham don't get the result. So look, we, fans fully understand that with you, James. And you know what? Fair play to you for still turning up even when we don't get the result. It's a very, very hard thing to do. I don't think, many people realize, how hard it is or how gut-wrenching it actually is to sort of sit there and do that off the back of poor results or a string of poor results like we've had in recent years.
It's tough, man. I'm not complaining though. It's still a dream job. You know what
I mean? True.
Onto kind of how the season has gone so far for you, James. I mean, I don't know what your sort of expectations were going in, but I don't really think you probably knew many people that were saying to you, I think we'll go 6 games unbeaten here. I think we'll be able to go, go past Man United, go past Arsenal, and be in this sort of kind of a great sort of position, really, in relative terms to the rest of the league. I mean, did you see that happening? How do you feel right now as a Spurs fan in the season ahead?
I didn't see the to the degree of what's happening, but again, as I'm writing, like you do have to do your due diligence and do have to like do a little bit of research so you know kind of what you're writing about. So this played the way we want to with Big Ange Postecoglou come about through looking at what he was doing at Celtic. Went back. I'd done the lyrics, went back to make sure it makes sense. I wasn't going to turn into a meme again. Do you know what I mean? So that sort of thing for me was the part and the time I knew that this was going to be good. What I thought would happen was I thought this would be a precursor for say next season, and we'd just be playing some really good football and not quite getting over the line. Got a squad, got to get it together. Just didn't think it would be so quick that they're getting it, and I think that's testament to the changes as well as Ange, like the changes he's got. Like I think that NLD, I think it had only 2 starters or something from last season, 2 or 3 maybe, and how young they are. It just all of this is going right in the right direction, isn't it? So now, I mean, at the start of the season, I guessed around sort of 6th or 7th at best, looking into trying to get Champions League the year after. Now, if they're playing this way, I mean, let's be honest. Just put something up that, including the teams we just played, we haven't played anyone decent yet. You know what I mean? So, I mean, now I think with just having the one game until the FA Cup comes in, I think we've got a real good shot at top 4 at least. And yeah, I'm so happy, man. But more happy about this is just 6 games into a regime that's completely different. And if it's like this good already, yes, there's going to be some bumps, but I think Tottenham fans will now allow him and allow the team these bumps because we're seeing with our own eyes what he wants to do. So I think this is definitely going to be a long-term agreement here between the fans and the management and the players.
Do you know what? I think you make a very good point there. The fact that he's got off to such a really good start, people can see the run of results we can bring in under him, but also the style of football and how good we can be. That when that bump in the road maybe does happen, I think you're spot on. I think fans will give him a bit of a gracious period to sort of get it back on track again. I think you're absolutely spot on. Whereas in, for instance, with Nuno, he got off to 3 starts, but then it just went sour quickly. And, fans didn't really give him that sort of grace period to want to build anything. And, the changes that Ange Postecoglou has made, like you said, only a couple of starters from last year's North London derby, the change in leadership, which I think in the dressing room, which I think is the biggest, because if that's not right, you are set up for failure. I don't care who you are. You could be Pep Guardiola. If that leadership in the group isn't right, the guys that everyone else in the dressing room look up to, you wonder why we've seen what we've seen over the last couple of years, and since he's changed that, look at the squad. They look rejuvenated. They look energetic. They look hungry. There's a clear change in sort of mindset within that, and long may it continue. Like you said, our first biggest test of the season this weekend, and I cannot wait for it, my man.
Same as that, man. Finally playing a top team. I haven't done it yet this season. So yeah, it'd be quite good to see us up against the top team.
Ange broke the manager of the month curse. Can you break the Liverpool curse?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, you look at them. Someone put a highlight together on Twitter, and it's so true. We know as Spurs.
I feel like that was scraping the surface too. Even that one, I feel like there's other ones we're missing.
I know it's the curse one. My brother's a Liverpool fan, so I grew up with that, that curse.
How did that happen?
I can't remember really. I don't know, but I still don't talk to him about it. Do you know what I mean? So the Champions League final was just an absolute nightmare. We said beforehand, so just don't chat to each other. I don't know. I think he was influenced at school, to be honest, but he also listens to not as good music either. So I'm the one with a sense. Do you know what I mean?
It's going to be a fun weekend in your house, in your family this weekend, my man.
Man, yeah, it's a curse fixture, isn't it?
Huh?
Yeah. For Tottenham, it's a curse fixture. That Wembley game was just like a getting out of all the feelings. Remember, is it 4-1 or 4-0? 4-1, I think.
4-1.
4-1.
Lovren had a nightmare that night.
Yes, that when he missed the ball over his head, didn't he? And all that. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
But there's been so many things, and I think we're due a result at home to them. The other thing I would say on that, and I think everyone's kind of getting together for this, is that 5:30 kickoff. I think that atmosphere is going to be incredible, and it's going to play a big part. But that atmosphere is going to be incredible.
Yeah, and I think that's off the back of, for once in a long time, Spurs fans actually left a North London derby where we didn't have to go through the usual motions of kind of just, picking ourselves up, doom and gloom sort of thing. We actually, Dave and I were joking. We're like, wow, we're actually exhaling, in a good way, like sort of thing. And when you think about that, now we can, in a way, we just sort of bliss, we've been kind of in bliss right now, going into this Liverpool game. Another huge, huge test, but still, right? I think we've been kind of going into it still like, very confident, very expectant of a great result here. And I think that's, like you said, also with the later kickoff, definitely will, definitely be hopefully one of the better atmospheres we've seen. And
they're playing well as well, aren't they? Liverpool are playing well. I watched a bit of those, and it is going to be really tough, man. It's going to be a really tough fixture. But again, if someone would offer me a draw 3 weeks ago, I'd say, yep. But now you think about it, and that's testament, isn't it? Like you wouldn't get definitely take a draw, and that's against Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, to see where we're at again, I suppose, finally against the top team, like I said.
I just don't want it to be influenced by the referees. There's a reason why me and Jack called them Liverpool. Because they tend to get a lot of the decisions, a lot of the rub of the green. I just don't want the referee to influence this game like they did the North London Derby. I just want the officials to blow the whistle when they're supposed to and leave it at that and let the football do the talking. But look, massive, massive game this weekend. Let's see how we get on. If we can come out of this with a result, are we title contenders, James?
I'm going to absolutely say no. And the reason being, I want everyone to just be quiet. Do you know what I mean? And then we'll just sort of go around and do our thing. Because as soon as that pressure comes on, could it be a different kettle of fish under new management? I like the fact that nobody's talking about anything like that personally. And I think the other flip side is there's 2 games that we didn't win that we still managed to draw. And they were away from home, dodgy referee, same dodgy referee, I think, actually, an own goal and a dodgy penalty. That's twice that we haven't managed to win in this season. So there is massive things happening here, but I like keeping quiet, keep it chill. And
I remember people saying that at the beginning of the season, even though, like they said, like, even if this goes well under Ange, like, let's just, it's nice that the Harry Kane saga is over. Like, there's nothing for people to really talk about anymore with Spurs other than just our season and how it's going. And now that it's going pretty well, let's just fly under the radar completely.
See, that's a great point, isn't it? That's a great point, is that we all do these podcasts, we talk at length, and we're hardly ever mentioning our greatest ever player leaving. That is just incredible. That is just like, how can you do that? So that in itself shows you what's going on, and how much the fans are behind it.
Do you know what? On that, look, I was scared to sort of let him go because I just didn't see where the goals were going to come from or who would supply Sonny them goals. But the partnership that Maddison and Son have sort of been able to develop very, very quickly will sort of replace that Kane and Son partnership, which, is allowing us to flourish right now. And look, hopefully it can have the longevity of the Kane and Son partnership because it's only for the benefit of Tottenham Hotspur. So, let's see how far them 2 boys can take us. I think, they both got the egos to keep it going. So let's see.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I love Maddison's attitude. It's, when he went to take the corner and he moved the ball out of the circle and all that. Like, he's
brilliant.
I love all stuff like that, man. Yeah, I think they're going to be big players in this league. And I was on a podcast with Kevin Campbell, the ex-Arsenal player for the NLD one. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
He asked me what my favourite NLD goal was, and I said Gazza's free kick in '91. And he said, "You bugger! I was in the wall." And I said to him after that, I said, "Look, Mickey van der Ven is going to be up there with your defenders." And they go, "No, I'll take a bet." So I took a bet with him. So yeah, but I love Van der Ven. I think he's absolutely brilliant. He's got that Vertonghen about him, but he's so young.
Yeah,
it felt like a kind of a coming out game for him, actually. And I even said on that North London derby that I don't know, Maddison and Basuma and these guys have been so terrific and so spectacular that I even said it wasn't even their best game, I would say, this season, where it was actually more like a Mickey van de Ven's best game. It felt like one of Vicario's best games, felt like one of Kulusevski's maybe best games, some of the lesser spoken about players, at least in my opinion. And I know we all love those guys tremendously, but they don't, even for the songs, maybe they're not going to make, the top of the list, type of players, right? They're not, not the first names and they're not the biggest names on the team sheet yet. I actually thought they stood out for at least from minute 1 through minute 90 the most, those guys. So it was a coming out game for them.
We've also gone from, haven't we, like
Udogie too.
Walking into these North London derbies, we're one injury to one person away from disaster. Now we're talking about who was man of the match. I have no idea. That is, again, that's such a flip. And we're just a team. And I think that's how Ange does it. I think he gets like a group together and group band of brothers, whatever they call it. And that's what he's got going on there. And you can tell he's such a likable guy on top of his tacticians, even though he's just copying Pep, mate. But he's just such a likable guy on top of all of it that I don't know. I think even the press for the first time in a long time are liking Spurs, and we haven't ever seen that, have we? Do you know what I mean?
No, we haven't. That's what makes me nervous, my man. I don't like it. I fear they're plotting something, you know. But speaking of, players and stuff like that, I don't think I actually have one favorite player in this team because I like so many. Whereas in years gone by, I've actually hated the majority of the Tottenham squad. And it pains me to say that. I do not like saying that. But the performances I've seen on the pitch just turned me off a lot of them. And, I was able to pick out my two favourite players straight away. Kane and Son straight away. But now under Ange Postecoglou, I mean, I love Van der Tonghen. I love Bam Bam, a.k.a. hashtag Rombom Romero. I absolutely love Porro. I really like Basuma. I'm falling in love with Madison. I love Sonny. I love Udogie, and it's very hard for me to actually pick a favorite. Have you got a favorite?
No, I'm exactly the same. Like in Pape Matasar's been brilliant. Do you know what I mean? It's just and Vicario's been incredible. There is just no way of picking it, and that's what I think he's done. That's testament to Big Ange, to be honest with you. I think he's got. There's no. We'll probably argue at some point, although there's definitely arguments for both sides, that if you lose this star player that everyone seems to be playing through, then everyone's got to step up again. I think Son said this, didn't he, at the start of the season?
Yeah.
Well, my God, every single person has. Like from the back, from the goalkeeper upwards. So there's that.
Is it sustainable?
Well. Sorry, is it sustainable?
Yeah.
No, I personally think, touch wood, that until we get a few more transfer windows down the line, you're a couple of injuries away from a bit of a problem. But then again, something happens with one of the midfielders. You've got Bentancur coming back. I just saw Brian Hill on a bike, and he is born to play for Ange. The way he plays, he was born to play for Ange. He's going to be coming in.
Can I ask you this? Do you believe in Hill Messi? That's our kind of nickname for him over here. I couldn't extend the in, before the Hill Messi. I had to break before the voice crack came. But I don't know. Like he's, kind of when you think about it, right? Some injuries. Brennan Johnson, I think, with some sort of muscle fatigue type thing going on.
Is he okay for Liverpool?
No, I don't think he made the bench.
Is he okay? He's not.
Is he okay for Liverpool? I don't think either of them are. I think Johnson might miss it. And I think Hill might miss it still. I think he's still kind of recuperating. But I'm just asking you, with Perisic's injury and just sort of kind of, I don't know, is this an opportunity for him and maybe a last opportunity for him, despite how much he's kind of a cult hero or kind of, some people kind of love him, behind the scenes. Yeah.
I think Brian Hill is going to be brilliant for Ange, Bill. I do. I still with that though. I think Perisic is a massive loss, and the reason I think that is he would bring on Perisic and Højbjerg, and we would see that as right. Okay, he's now bringing on the experience to see the game out, and that's what they turned into, these guys, and they would be up for it, and they would be doing that, and they'd be part of that squad. That's such a big thing to lose. Like I reckon, if you have again Perisic for the NLD coming on, getting some crosses in, I think we'd be all excited about that. So, but Brian Hill brings a completely different thing, and I'm so excited for him underneath Ange. It's going to be incredible. So but I'm more thinking injuries, goalkeeper and the two centre backs. There's a problem there if there's an injury there. I think. But other than that, we've probably still got a bit of cover to come in.
I agree with you on the Vicario one, actually. Look, Fraser Forrester, a good goalkeeper, good shot stopper, but you will lose in terms of distribution. So if that happens, will we be able to still play out from the back with the same sort of way we're doing it? Probably not. You're missing a centre back. Look, you're going to take a hit, but I'd much rather it go to Phillips or Dorrington, know, bring them in and let's see how they do. But on the prophecy of Gil Messi, the seventh wonder of the world, the missing member of the Beatles, for me, I think he's absolutely a Postacoglu player, James. I think, you know, when you look at it, right, when you look at what his skill set is, energy, you've seen that off the bench with Conte a lot of times. You know, everyone else sort of falling back into shit. Gil Messi's running around like a blue-ass fly, pressing everything, trying to get the ball back. Then also he's tricky on the ball. But I would say versatility. He can play left, he can play right. And a lot of people say, well, where would the creativity if Maddison gets injured? I think Gil Messi is the guy I'm looking at to fill in that number 8. You know, people say, oh, he's too small. Well, Luka Modric wasn't when Harry Redknapp moved him in off the wing into more of a central position. He went on to become a Ballon d'Or winner and one of the very best midfielders in the world. And I do see that in Gil Messi. So, look, let's wait and see what happens. But I agree with you. I think he is an Ange Postecoglou player. And, you know, especially with the way Postecoglou likes it to keep making it relentless. So he'll make substitutions. Imagine Gil coming off the bench and just providing that energy. You know, Postecoglou will absolutely love the kid. You wouldn't be surprised to see him at one of the games giving him a nuggie. You know, he loves him that much after changing the game.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. And did he play? He played Kulu at that through the middle, didn't he? When he had 4 up front against Sheffield United, I think he brought Kulu into the middle, and that seemed to work all right as well. But again, what you're saying is amazing. And also what Jack's saying about Kulusevski against Arsenal, I think that was his best game. So I think that we have got some strength and some depth. But I mean, I can't wait for Hill to get back. I reckon he might be ready for Luton. Maybe is it Luton after Liverpool? I think it is.
Yes, Luton. Correct. Yeah. Luton away.
A nice little tester for him to come out for.
That's a good choice.
So yeah, I'd give him a shot at that. See how we get on. You know what I
mean? Yeah, 100%.
Definitely so. Definitely so. Sorry, I kind of have some New York noise in the background, but I was going to ask you. You know, maybe I don't know, just a question, just sort of on the vibe. You know, at Spurs, kind of in general, but. You know, Big Vic, you know, after the Arsenal game said this. He said, I was quite satisfied. The most important thing was to show everyone who we are. I think we deserve something more because we have played some excellent football. And kind of the point that I really stick on, you know, there, James, is the part where he says the most important thing after the game was that we showed to everyone who we are. Do you think we're starting to earn some respect back?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I think the players all on Instagram, you'd see on social media, there seems to be a slight disappointment to the draw. And we'd love to see that, obviously. Fans weren't really as disappointed because we were not looking forward to that game. We never look forward to going to Emirates, do we? So that was a lovely sort of thing to see as well. I think Vicario has just been incredible. Like just the way that he seems to manage them players in front of him, straight away seems to boss that box. That has been like it feels like he's played there for 3 or 4 years for us. That's how it feels for me. That has been a huge, huge thing. So I'm the same as what your man's saying about losing that to Fraser Foster coming in is a huge part of the play that we'll lose. I think that'll be one of the first things he goes out to get is another a backup to Vicario.
I'll be honest on that, James. I wouldn't be surprised to see young Josh Keeley get called up. Like Forrester, Whiteman, Austin, and Reese. They all have 1 year left on the contract. They're more than likely going to sort of be shipped out. That opens the door for someone like Josh Keeley for the under-21s, who's been excellent with his feet. You know, you could end up seeing that. Who knows?
I see you guys cover it quite a bit, don't you? The under-21 stuff and everything. I see.
I love it, lad.
I love it.
Amazing. Yeah. That's amazing. It's a good way to keep involved in it. I love it. They're playing similar, aren't they? They're playing sort of similar Ange ball, aren't they? Do you know what I
mean? It's like an Ariana Grande song. It's like "Thank You Next," you know, to every team that they come up against. I'm not kidding. Like they're
7 out of 7.
Say that again.
Yeah,
is it 7 out of 7 for them because they've played 2 cup games as well, haven't they?
Yeah, they've won every single game.
I love it. I follow it, but probably not as deep as you guys do. But I follow it and watch it and see who's done well and watch the highlights and stuff like that. And it's great to watch. And you got that. Who's the penalty takers like a left-footed Harry Kane?
Donnelly.
Like Donnelly, he's brilliant, man.
Yeah, he's terrific.
He's brilliant. So there's a few things, and I would do that. I would do that maybe even going into the market is showing that gate open from the youth must be what's helping them now at the minute because there's been a turn of fortune for them as well, haven't there? Like quite a huge turn of fortune for those guys.
How do you balance that, James, though, like for the future, right? Because you know that we have this crop of, I mean, Dave and I have gone as far as to say it's almost like our own sort of class of 91 at the moment, how talented it really is in that academy. And do you just feel like, how do you balance that, with buying players for kind of the here and now, but then also knowing that there are these guys that are just a few years down the road from being probably ready, for sort of first team football? So how do you sort of balance that, do you think?
I would say that next season that we're going to need like experience and youth coming through. So I think they'd use them for more the domestic cups maybe, and then you've got like then we'll be playing twice a week in massive games. They might need to get minutes in their legs. Playing Ange ball is not like is not for the old man, is it? Do you know what I mean? It's going to have to be for a younger squad. I think we had the youngest squad in the North London derby for many years that I can remember. So he's going that way anyway, and I think he has to go that way maybe for energy. So I think that's transcribing down to the youth team. They're seeing that this is their shot. They've got a manager here who will balance that, who will bring that in. He's not scared of it. So I just don't want a repeat of the one blotted thing with the Fulham game. I don't want a repeat of that, of the 9 changes. But but we'll definitely allow him that, as we can see what we're seeing now.
No, absolutely. But look, it'd be good to see maybe some of the youth come through, because that's something Pochettino done very well with Tottenham. He bought through, I always speak about the ones that we went and bought from other academies, but then you look at the likes of Bentaleb, Mason, people like that he ended up bringing through as well, and stuff like that. So, let's get back to what we were good at doing, which was providing, identifying young talent, developing them, bringing them through into the first team, and then creating a good first team. But look, long may what's going on with Ange Postecoglou continue, because he's transformed the whole club. He's even got the chairman out doing board meetings and stuff like that. Everyone wants to play their part in this journey. So it's absolutely fantastic. But look, Spurs have accumulated, James, the most points from losing positions in the Premier League, ahead of Man United, who are known for Fergie time. Does this surprise you that Spurs are now leading in such a category? And where does this never give up sort of attitude come from?
Well, the first thing you got to take from that is that Spursy is obviously been bought by journalists trying to put on their own talk on certain things that weren't real. That's the first thing to take from that. But yeah, does it surprise me? Well, now watching us now, no. But the last few years, I don't remember sort of coming back so much. In my head, it hasn't been like that. But yeah, it's good to be someone said, so I put that up. I think someone said we're top of the other side as well, though, aren't we? Like top of the most, drop the most points or something. Is that true? I don't know. I don't know. I've not looked into that. But,
that'd be terrific.
Quite funny to be top of both. But no, we seem to be we're statistically the comeback kings of the Premier League. Is that right? Yeah, it just shows the never die attitude, man. And
you know what?
See it in them.
That's been there for a while, though. Under Pochettino, how many goals do we get, later on in the game to go on and win games? Under Conte, we were a second half team. The amount of times we ended up fighting back in the second half. And then with Ange Postecoglou, we never stop. We've gone down a goal down, I think, in like 4 or 5 games already this season, but we've found a way of coming back, and it's, that culture is starting to be there at Tottenham. Now it's just trying to get us to start early, start fast, and get that sort of complete 90 minutes. So, but look, I'm absolutely loving the spirit in the team. I hate when teams give up. And the fact that you still have a belief in a team where, even when it goes into injury time, it's about the mindset. And once you always have that mindset, you start feeling okay until the referee blows that final whistle. We're not out of it, and 9 times out of 10. That belief where other teams don't believe, you will go and get that winner. You just have to manifest it sometimes.
Yeah, and you see that that's happening on the pitch, and you see I don't know if you've ever watched the game at the very, very end. They fall to the ground, which is great. And you see that interview that Ange did as well, where he's saying, "We keep going. There's no stop. There's no stop. There's no stop. We just keep going." That's obviously been instilled in them. And then watching them at the stadium at the very end, a lot of them just fall to the ground. And that is brilliant to watch, because it should be the bare minimum, shouldn't it? It should be, but Tottenham are not really used. But
that's validation for us. Just quickly though, do you think that comeback? I don't know how much credit you give to it, but I think you should, at least a little bit, or maybe I'm wrong. To maybe also the fans, would you say maybe like you said, the away fans are, been terrific. You said, I think this last year, maybe years gone by as well. And also too, I mean, the stadium, I think does a very good job at, when we need a goal, putting pressure on them in kind of good ways and sometimes maybe even bad ways, but still, very good pressure on them. What do you think that comeback comes from? Maybe also from the fans just being
Huge.
loud and being,
Yeah.
on them.
Well, I am in a position where I can sort of feel that sometimes in the performances we do and stuff like that. And I've got to say, it might seem biased, but it's just the best fans in world football, and I don't think that it even comes close for me. I just watch how they are, and their away support is unbelievable. Their
Yeah.
away fans, and then watching them now in the stadium though, and feeling that vibe from the stadium, it's just, I don't know. It's just there's a certain coolness to a Tottenham fan as well that you can pick up on that the other clubs haven't got. Again, that may seem extremely biased, but I've always felt that. I've always you sort of had that radar on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's a certain coolness to a Spurs fan, and I do think they play a massive, massive part. And I think that we was playing under Mourinho or Conte, 1-0 down, Sheffield United, 95th minute, you'd have about 2,000 people probably left in that stadium, maybe. I don't know. There's a belief in the fans that comes from the players and goes round, and it's all together at the minute, and I don't think that's going away.
I hope not. I hope not. We deserve this. We've gone through a lot of pain on the pitch in the last few years. So, hopefully now this is the start of the turnaround, and we've quite a few good years ahead of us. But James, it's been absolutely brilliant to have you on today, my man. I really do appreciate your time. Absolutely love the work you do. And if I'm over there at the Chelsea game, hopefully I can get down to the bar, to have a listen in and meet you, my man. That would be absolutely awesome.
Yes,
but look, you mentioned about traveling just before you go. Any places you'd recommend to people?
What, to go traveling?
Yeah.
My next one's going to probably be, I think I'm going to look at like Hong Kong, Japan, and get around there. Best place in the world for me, Peru. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why?
I'd landed in Peru and I was like, I just got the third COVID jab, so I had to get jabbed at the airport to get on the plane. You have to have this booster. So I got under the stairs of an airport getting COVID jabbed in my arm. Then I'm straight into a plane. So I've got like the plane stuff going on, and they got COVID in me.
You're going through the symptoms on a plane. That's hilarious.
I know. And then I landed in Cusco, which is the second highest city in the world. So I've got altitude sickness.
Yeah.
And I have my passport stolen. And all this is like, well, it's going to be terrible. So I just upgraded to my room, sat in my room for like a day or so. And I was in this place, Cusco is like where people go to see Machu Picchu. And I was in this area, and like, this is going to sound like a chat up line, like from Joey from Friends, but I was in a little town called Ollantaytambo, and it was just like Sacred Valley of Incas. Like you're walking around a postcard. Yeah. Nobody was there because everyone tries to go to Machu Picchu. Because I was altitude sickness and full of COVID, I was just shuffling around there for a bit. And it just turned out to be one of the most beautiful places, well, the most beautiful place in the world by quite some distance. It's just like, I followed this farmer up into the Sacred Valleys, and it's just like, I couldn't believe what I could see.
Do you like ceviche?
Sorry?
Do you like ceviche in particular?
No.
Ceviche is like that. It's like they're very known for having terrific fish in Peru.
I'm allergic to seafood, so I can't have any seafood.
Maybe in a different Peruvian vacation life. You can do that. But it's a beautiful country. I haven't been there, but yeah, that's on my list for sure. And can you also give yourself a plug of any kind? Anything that's coming up and for Voice of Spurs or just in the Spurs Stadium in general, or whatever's happening with you in general.
Yeah. So my social media, Voice of Spurs, is Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. It's all the same. I am playing Liverpool game. I am at the Shelf Bar pre and post game, so I'll be there starting from around 3:30. And then just come and see me, man. It'll be like classics. There'll be the big Ange tune. There'll be some new ones. Just come and see me. It's turned into an amazing atmosphere at the pre-match now.
Nah, I've no doubt it is. I don't drink personally, but beer flowing, good Spurs songs on, it makes for a great atmosphere, especially when times are good. But James, it's been absolutely awesome, my man. Thank you very much. Really do appreciate your time. And we'll let you go on with the rest of your day, my man.
Nice one, guys.
Pleasure.
Take care.
See you, James.
We'll see you again soon, James.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. In the big Ange.